myth. To few, I am a man. At 1900 hours tonight, I will have infiltrated North Tower and be detained as a prisoner of Butterfly. They will tell you that I am a terrorist, a threat, and yet they will attempt to steal from me an idea they wish to dilute and sell to you. But tonight, I have other plans for them.
Hey, what's up? I'm Chris from Spoiler Free Movie Sleuth. It's going to be our first video discussion and interview with the cast and crew from Zenisphere's production of Thieves. This is Jesse, and why doesn't everybody else introduce themselves?
Diedrich Davis.
Sheldon Simmons.
Kelly Kirstein.
Why don't each of you tell us a little bit about what your role is in this movie and who you play?
Oh, I am the extractor. I am a cyborg, and I'm just a brutal monster of a machine. And, yeah, and it's I mean, he at one time he was a real man who had a wife and a kid, and they were taken away from him, and he now he's just a shell. But I mean, the memories still come back to him at times, and you know. As the character, I'm hoping he one day.
Yeah, hopefully we can do like a feature length or a miniseries. I'd love to expand on.
Yeah,
it sounds like something
where he can come back and get all his memories back, and
right,
turn back into what he used to be.
Cool.
Sheldon?
All right, well, I play as Jason Arthur. I am a cigarette smoking, coffee guzzling, head banging. Genius in my own right. I'm hired by a young lady to bring down a company that is basically trying to rule the world. So, I'm like in search to find this woman here. So,
yeah,
that's the basis of it.
Nice.
Well, I played the agent. For lack of a better term, I suppose she's kind of a cold hard witch. Mind my language.
Right.
It could be much worse.
Okay, just making sure.
We're not censoring anything, so say what you want.
Okay, yeah, she's a cold hard bitch. She's there to interrogate Mr. Jason Arthur. She's very cold. Very distant, kind of surreal, really, kind of a surreal character, I would say. And she has a deep, dark secret that I'm not sure I should mention. But yeah.
Don't give away too much.
Yeah, right. She's kind of a badass. I'm not gonna lie.
So Jesse, me and you kind of met each other at Blockbuster, probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about movies a lot. And you had kind of talked to me about this a while ago, about like you wanted to start making your own stuff. What was the defining factor that finally got you doing this?
Finally got me doing it? Well, I mean, I'd always been doing like silly stuff. I don't know if you saw any of that dumb crap I used to do back starting in Chicago. I did this sketch comedy series called The Stupid Idiots.
I never saw it.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I still think it's pretty funny, but we did 4 episodes of it, and all these different sketches in there. It was really silly. People liked it, I guess, but just projects fall apart and stuff. So I've always been doing it. But what got us into Zenisphere is, again, I met Matt at Blockbuster. He's a director of photography on Thieves. And we shared an interest in making films, and that was it. We just decided, hey, let's just start something cool. Let's do like a really cool project. We did Patrick, and Neil came aboard. He started working at Blockbuster, and I called up friend Ryan. I was like, hey, why don't we turn this into like a real crew? And that was it. Really simple. It's like starting a band almost.
Right. Well, that's something me and Nick talked about the other day. Was it seems like in the past like year or so, I've noticed that a lot more people, as the economy has gotten worse, that a lot more people are throwing themselves into things like this. It seems like there's this new creative momentum going on, like this whole new sense of community. Do you guys kind of see that?
Yeah.
It's something I've noticed, like with this, music project I've been involved in now, that there's just a lot more going on. Right. And I'm not sure, is that stimulated by the economy being dead? Are people just looking for something to do as an outlet? Or is it...
Michigan was doing really well with the film thing for a while, before Snyder over,
Yeah, guy's a jackass.
Yeah, they were doing really well, and I think one of the things about creative people in Michigan is I think that versus other places that I've been to, people are a lot more fiery here when it comes to their passions. Like, regardless of what happened with the Michigan film industry, I think the artists, they really want to keep moving here.
Right.
They keep going, and I think despite hardships, they're just going to keep moving. Because there's just the way it is here in Michigan, it's really tough, and I think people really, they embrace those outlets like the film or music or whatever it is, and they give it their all because there really isn't much else that they can do here,
And it just seems too, also I think, do you think the technology being so much less expensive now is making these things a lot easier for people to do? I mean, 10 or 15 years ago, you couldn't make a movie if you didn't have 20 grand to go spend on gear. And the same thing with music. Now you can go spend, $500-600 at Guitar Center or Best Buy or whatever, and you can walk out with enough to just, get something bare bones going. So
it's not even that. It's just that the technology back then was so complicated. Even if you did get it, you needed to be an expert at what what you were trying to do in order to make it happen. But now they have everything compact and ready to go, and so all you have to do is buy a box, plug it in, and get started.
It's a double-edged sword, though, I think, because they make it so easy, and I think it's a beautiful thing, don't get me wrong. I think it's absolutely beautiful that it's so much easier for people to find the outlets when they need them, because, not everybody has these outlets. They don't have the resources for it, and now it's getting easier and easier to do that. The problem with that now is that it's easy for people to be lazy about it.
Yeah.
And like when you have all these great tools, there should be no reason why you shouldn't put the extra effort into it, because now it is so easy.
Right.
And I see a lot of that happening, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
And that's actually another reason why we have so many people jumping into the music business and the film business, because it's so easy to do. They just jump right in. Well, they make it so easy to do. They just jump right in it, and they don't put anything into it. They're just trying to get a quick buck and get off the scene.
Well, I mean, me and Nick have seen it ourselves. So many people will just like, oh, I can record my own CD at home now. I don't have to go to a big studio. Well, unfortunately, what you record at home still isn't going to have that quality that a multi-million-dollar studio is going to have. So I think even with the film thing, there's some of that too, like you said, the double-edged sword. So I guess we can move on from that. Do you want to share a little bit about Thieves, or are you kind of keeping it on the down low?
Somewhat of Thieves is, I mean, we're trying to keep it, I'm playing it close to the chest.
Right.
The whole production I have.
So if you like The Dark Knight or not?
Actually,
you just used that line that was used over and over and over again in that movie. I was like, would you stop saying that, please? At least 5 times in that movie they said, you're playing it pretty close to the chest.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Annoyed the shit out of me. Ugh.
No.
Sorry.
Thieves, by its nature, it's it's very elusive and mysterious. Just the way the tone of the film is the audience isn't going to be privy to much when you're first introduced to these characters, and there's a very slow unraveling of the plot as you go.
Good.
Like, you don't get all the answers. Even when it's finished, I wanted to leave a lot open to discussion of who's right and who's wrong and all that stuff. And
right.
So, when we're promoting Thieves and all the like production stills, the posters that we're gonna have, the teasers, the trailers, all that stuff is all gonna be very subtle and subversive when it comes to revealing plot and stuff like that. Because I like to get people and get people's imagination going. And,
right.
But Thieves, it's cyberpunk dialogue-driven thriller between it's this discussion, this very heated discussion between Kelly's character, who's Agent Janice, and Jason Arthur, who is considered a terrorist by Janice's agency. And they're having this heated discussion. Basically, Jason's just attacking her with his moral ideal, and she's just trying to get a job done. And he's making it very difficult for her to do that. And the Extractor is sort of like a bodyguard to make sure that what Agent Janice is doing will have a positive resolution for them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. So, saying that, would you say there's any like specific film that influenced you to make this, or is the spectrum too large for that?
Actually, the reason I initially wrote this is because my girlfriend actually had this really weird dream, and it was like a guy that looked like Jeffrey Rush, and he was like interrogating.
That alone is scary.
So it was like a really dark room, and like Jeffrey Rush was interrogating some guy for whatever reason, and just like I can get inspired by like really simple stuff, and so like from there I was like, oh, okay, I'll see where I can take this, and I thought it was just gonna be this silly simple thing, and it just evolved into something much bigger. Much larger. In terms of specific inspiration from films, honestly, not really. It's more like tone, I guess, that inspired me. Like the tone of Tony Scott's films, or
one of my favorites.
Yeah, or the tone of David Fincher's films, like that kind of like dark. Well, like the kinetic energy of Tony Scott's films, right. And like the dark sort of like brooding undercurrent that David Fincher always has in his. So
excellent filmmaker. Was it Alien 3? That's another like polarizing David Fincher movie.
Yeah, because the studios were just, they had him under their heel. Like they wouldn't let him do what he wanted to do because he was like this young, fresh filmmaker, and they just.
I love that movie.
Really?
I don't. Alien 3. I actually like the absence of weapons. Like it was very cool. After Aliens, with everything being such huge explosions and everything, I thought it was cool just to like go bare bones.
I don't remember Alien 3 too well, honestly.
Initially, the planet was supposed to be made of wood.
Really?
Yes, I swear to God, I've read it numerous times. There's there's a lot of trivia out about that movie, and they were going to actually do this planet that was made of wood. Wow. I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So
maybe we'll see it one day.
Just random shit I'm throwing out there. So back to Thieves. When do you expect post-production to be completed?
I hope that it'll be completed in December.
Yeah. It's not too long.
No, it's not. And that's why I hope it's going to be completed in December. I put a lot of work into the editing, especially with this one. It's going to be absolutely crazy, because I want to do a lot of that, like that hyper cut editing style that Tony Scott employs for a lot of his films. So I want it to have kind of like this hyperactive anime sort of feel vibe to it, like just lots of twitchy camera tricks and neat little like color swaps and stuff like that.
Excellent.
Just really, really crazy, really fun looking. So it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
But I hope December, January at the latest, but I hope December.
So is this something that eventually you'd like to develop to a full length?
Absolutely.
Or, is the lack of funding, is that really, is that something that would completely just hold something like that back and not allow it to happen?
Yes, unfortunately, that will hold it back.
It's sad.
I mean, I don't have a lot of money, obviously, and I funded this whole thing. And I definitely don't have the money to continue releasing more shorts. I mean, this was an arduous. Did I say that right? Arduous?
Arduous. Yeah.
There we go. This is an arduous task to complete this short film, to get it to where it's at. Like, it was a big pain in the ass. Like, it was a lot of hard work, and I don't have the mental endurance to do that again and again and again with no budget.
Right.
You know, so
yeah, it's got to be hard. I mean,
you know, the plan is, I mean, I'm going to be very honest with you, very outright, is I want it done, and I want to show people, like, hey, like,
this is what I can
we're
do.
capable of making something that's freaking phenomenal. Like, give us some money to make it into something even more, you know.
Well, you know, there is a really cool program. I'll actually bring this up now, for creative projects and stuff like that. It's a website called Kickstarter.com.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
I don't know if any of you guys have seen that. Really cool website. If you want to create something, if you want to develop any kind of like nonprofit organization, different things, you can actually go on there and create an account, and you can put it out there, and people can donate money to your project.
There's that. There's Indiegogo.com. There's also a website. I cannot remember the name. James Caan got so tired of the crap that Hollywood was producing. He wanted younger film people to make good things. So he set up a website with a couple other guys, and you can actually submit to it. They look at it, they vote on it.
Yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah, and if your film is good, he'll give you win $500,000, and I think he matches another $500,000.
Wow.
And you know, if you take $1 million, in this guy's hands,
well, yeah,
and the budget, we got something unbelievable.
It's not all about budget. I mean, look at Transformers 2.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, seriously.
No, you're right. There's a lot of films out there that dump a ton of money into a budget, and they look like garbage. And then there's ones that you look at the budget and you're like, oh my god, it's all they spent. This looks like $1 million production.
Yeah.
I don't know what in terms of inflation and stuff, if it's so amazing now, but it cost $60 million to make the first Matrix. That's like pennies compared to.
It would be 150, 160 now.
Yeah.
But the good thing about the Matrix movies is I mean, at least the first one, it still holds up really well.
Oh yeah,
it really does.
Yeah, it's an excellent movie.
That's another thing I always get yelled at. I'm like a huge fan of Revolutions.
I like all three of them. I
don't know that second one.
Oh yeah, I know. Believe me, all the stuff that's Reloaded.
What?
No, totally. The first time I saw Reloaded, I absolutely hated it. But I was sometime after I'd watched the whole trilogy like maybe 4 times, trying to enjoy the second two.
Right.
I was starting to get more into philosophy and stuff, and I started reading more about what inspired the Wachowski brothers to make the films. And after learning more about that, I went back and I watched all 3 of them, and there's really great scenes in Reloaded and Revolutions that are extraordinary compared to the first one. Yeah,
that battle scene at the end of Revolutions, I could watch that scene over and over and over again.
I think my favorite scene in the entire series is in Reloaded. It's the discussion between Neo and the Architect. It's so brilliantly written. It just blows my mind. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, this is so stupid. Big words and crap. Then I just hated it, you know. But like after you really learn about what they're talking about and what inspired them to make it, you gain a much more necessary appreciation for what they're doing. But
so since we're on the topic of the Wachowskis, me and Jesse are 2 of the only people on the face of this planet that actually appreciate Speed Racer.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
It's one of my all-time favorites.
Really? It's a
the motion picture, the movie.
The movie.
Yeah, the movie.
I haven't
I was
seen
to say
it.
the cartoon. Oh yeah, I'm all over it.
The movie was phenomenal. I watched it again last week, inspired by him because he kept posting about it on Facebook, and I'm like, I got to watch this movie again, and it's a great movie. I do not understand why it's so underappreciated.
Well, I mean, at a fundamental level, it's so fun.
It is.
Like, how can you hate it? I don't understand how you can dislike it. Just
bright colors, a good family story. You know, there's a lot there to like, and people just like destroyed it.
Yeah, I don't.
I think some
Did they
people
really
though
bash
are
it?
so hardcore and fanatical fans of like a cartoon series that anytime you touch it and you don't bring it to what their expectations are, they're going to trash it.
Yeah.
So I think that was the problem with
You're never
that.
gonna get
No.
everyone's
No, you're not,
you know.
expectations, right.
But I think an issue was too. I think a lot of people were pissed off at the Wachowskis because they didn't enjoy
Oh, they were still
the
bitter.
other Matrix movies.
Yeah.
So they were like, "I'm not going to go see these movies." You know, I'm not.
I think they marketed Speed Racer a little bit wrong too. Like,
Yeah.
I think they were like from the makers of the Matrix and all that stuff. So people are expecting something that it's not. They should have marketed it towards children.
Yeah.
You know, like as a family film, and they didn't.
What's sad is my son, who loves adventure movies and stuff, didn't like Speed Racer. And I'm like, do you actually not like the movie? Or is it just because you've been programmed because everybody else is telling you they don't like it? You know, or I don't know. Maybe at that age it's really not effective. You know. So okay, okay. Let's break this down. What are each of your favorite films? Why? And how have they affected you as an actor? How have they inspired each of you? Or is that too big of a question?
No. My one of my favorite films of all times is True Romance.
Oh,
Mine
great
too.
movie.
And I just there is just what inspires me about that is you see the cast in this and what they went on to be and the characters that they had in there. I mean, you look at Brad Pitt, he plays this teenage like stoner that never leaves the couch in the
little
entire
honey
movie.
bear.
And he went on to be this, him, Gandolfini, Walken. It's just the cast and the crew of that movie is unbelievable. And to watch something like that, and that to me, that's what inspires me to see these little tiny characters they took and brought them to such a huge presence on film, and then from there they went on to just be megastars. Everyone in that movie is
It's funny that you bring up True Romance because 2 nights ago I watched The Hills Have Eyes remake, and there's a scene in that movie when the main character is fighting back against one of these mutants, and they redeveloped that scene with Rosanna Arquette with the screwdriver.
Oh, nice.
Remember that
Yes.
when she's like waiting on the floor for him? They like did that whole scene over again in The Hills Have Eyes. And I'm watching it and I'm like, I've seen this scene before. It's right from True Romance. I had never thought about that.
Wow.
But he's just like hovering
I'll have
there.
to. Yeah, I'll have to check that out again.
It's the exact same scene.
Huh.
He's just kind of
That's
like
cool.
blindly reaching with the sharp object, waiting for this guy, and you're just like, you're gonna get destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, moving on.
Favorite movie, Love Jones.
Okay.
It stars Lorenz Tate and Nia Long, and plenty of other actors. Jeez, they all kind of slipped my mind now. But it's kind of a true romance story. Two people from two different places at two different places in their life, and they kind of come together amongst friends, and it basically just reminded me of a lot of stuff that I was going through and a lot of people that I hung out with, and a lot of the situations that I've actually been in when it came to relationships and romance and finding love and things like that. And it's soulful. It's poetic. It has poetry. Poetry readings. They go to a poetry club. They do their thing and everything like that. But
I've never seen it, so I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, you definitely have to check it out. It's a great film.
Lorenz Tate too. Like, what happened to him? Where is he? He's
I
always
don't-
been a great actor. And
I don't know, man. I
he's
see him in all these small roles, and I just wonder where did he go?
Yeah.
What was there was one in, I can't even remember the movies that he played in, but they were small roles, and it kind of upset me because I seen where he came from in the path that he was actually on, and I thought he was going to blow up. And kind of the same with Nia Long. She's doing all right, she's living her life now.
See her.
Right.
I mean, some of these actors, like, you see him for a brief period, but Lorenz Tate never got like a huge role.
No, he didn't.
Unfortunately.
All right.
Well, my favorite film would have to be Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very much a classic movies kind of girl. Pretty much Audrey Hepburn is everything I want to be in life. So even acting wise, she was very much an introvert. You know, she was very quiet. She liked spending time alone.
But very
she didn't
socially
party.
active, though.
Yes.
Very, very socially active.
She for UNICEF and everything. But for Breakfast at Tiffany's, she plays a very very social kind of girl. She's essentially playing a call girl, and it was
my kind of girl.
It was very out of her. It's very out of her comfort zone, I think, and I like seeing that. Aside from the fact that I think it's a beautiful story, it's my favorite book as well, and so I think pretty much anything Audrey Hepburn would have to be one of my favorite movies, but that one, because it's so different for her,
right?
You know, I really enjoyed that one.
And sadly, you know what? I've never seen that movie. That's like one, and we have it. I've just never.
I've never seen it either.
Have you guys?
Yeah, you know, I am too a big fan of classic movies, and what I like about them is the actors back then actually brought it to life. You didn't need $50 million worth of special effects behind them to make a movie. Right. They were what the movie was about, and then the backdrop was the backdrop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of My Fair Lady and Gone with the Wind, and
My Fair Lady. That was a good one.
Oh,
isn't she precious?
Oh,
in that?
It's man.
Yeah, anything Jimmy Stewart and
Yeah, Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant.
Yeah.
Any of those people from that era. Yeah.
Yeah, and they actually they had to act back then. They didn't have, you know, the
CGI and the animation and everything.
Right.
Yeah. So, on another note, what is the worst movie? Well, I don't know if we should do this as what's the worst movie you've ever seen or the worst movie you've seen this year. I don't know.
This year, this year, like so far, is kind of. I mean, it kind of sucks for movies so far. Like there's really
been fun movies.
There's been good ones. There's really been some great movies, but it's been so slow. Like everything, I've seen a lot of mediocre stuff this year. I don't think I've seen anything that's like the worst. You know, but
I think he begs to differ.
Yeah, I just wrote a review of The Tree of Life the other day, and I mean, literally polarizing movie, like we discussed before we were doing this. Watch it, make your own decision. There's some great cinematography, there's some great effects, but the story is just so hard to get through. It's almost depressing at times, which I guess is part of the emotion they're trying to make you feel. But it was just a hard, arduous movie to get through. I don't know.
Who was in that?
Yeah,
Brad Pitt, Sean Penn.
Yeah, like it's Brad Pitt and Sean Penn. And literally,
it should be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
this math isn't adding up.
Brad Pitt was actually really good. It was one of the best acting roles I've seen him in a while. Like he's actually believable in it. He's not just playing Brad Pitt again.
Right.
Sure.
But Sean Penn doesn't have any lines. He doesn't have one line in the movie. He's just aimlessly wandering throughout the movie because it's like a dual-tiered story. Actually, it's probably more than dual-tiered. You've got the story going on in the 50s with the family, and then you've got present day going on with Sean Penn, and you'll have to see it. I can't really explain it.
I'd still like to see it just to see it.
Yeah, on Blu-ray, I'm sure it looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, I downloaded it.
Yeah, as far as bad movies this year, I can't think of anything. I mean, the worst movie I ever saw was The Judas Project.
I've never seen that.
And I remember I got all my buddies all hyped up. I remember the commercials. Jesus came back to Earth, right? And like the government was all pissed off, and they show on this mountain, and like there's these like military helicopters rise behind them. Like, this is gonna be so badass. It was the worst piece of crap, you know. I just like I wanted to blind myself afterwards because it was so terrible. And all my buddies demanded their money back from me because I talked them into going to see it.
Where'd you see this at?
At the theater.
Really?
Yeah, we went to the theater and saw it, and I think it was out for like a week, and then. Gone. Yeah, thank God. I hope they burned any evidence of it. It's gone forever. It was terrible.
We're gonna burn you next, Nick. Okay, rolling out.
Mine is I can't remember if I seen anything this year that was worth calling, you know, the worst movie that I've ever seen.
So then, what was the worst that you've ever seen?
It would definitely be the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. There's this thing with a towel and the alien.
The new
it was
movie or like the BBC.
no,
thing?
That's right. There were two.
Yeah.
the newer one. It had Mos Def and
Well, then I won't fight you.
some other people.
Was Sam Rockwell in it? Why do I keep thinking he was in that?
Yeah, he was in that. I didn't really enjoy that movie either. Like,
No,
it looked really fun and cool to me.
It looked like
But
it
then
should.
I don't know.
It
I don't remember it too well to like give you a really good critical opinion of it. But I just remember not liking it.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I know. And I sat and I watched it. I felt something like right in here.
That was your
It
soul.
was like a black hole opening.
That was your soul being ripped out.
And then he whipped out this towel and they all started running. They were scared of a towel.
That was you, Bull, stealing your soul.
Yeah.
That guy is the worst ever. He should be killed.
Man.
Anyways. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
The worst movie I've ever seen. I think I paid 50 cents for it, maybe $1. And I regret that decision.
Wow.
I don't know if this was some like little independent thing or whatever, but it was called Lucinda's Spell.
I've heard of that.
My word.
It
That
sounds
film.
like a Cinemax porno.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's kind of, well, I mean, literally the cover art for it is drawn. I mean, somebody
Really?
like drew it out and obviously made the actors look a lot hotter than they really were. It was absolutely dreadful, but I kept it. It's so bad that I kind of love it. It kind of has a soft spot for me, and I mean it is absolutely dreadful. So if you can find it for 50 cents, I would not advise paying more than that.
That's what BitTorrent's for.
By all
keep
means,
admitting these
please.
legal activities.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, stop.
Yeah,
I-
it is.
I
it
wish
is
I,
dreadful.
I really wish I could recollect some of the worst
Yeah.
movies. Right now, I'm just drawing a blank.
See-
I know one of the worst that I've ever seen is Dreamcatcher.
That was pretty bad.
It was.
That
I mean,
was
it's not the
bad.
worst movie I've ever seen, but it was really bad.
It was very like just. I don't even know how to explain it. It was like it
Dude,
just didn't add up.
dude, this is the point of the movie where I was like, what the fuck? All right. I think it was it. I can't think of the actor's name who was in it, but he goes to like some military base, right? And there's like some dude trapped in his own mind or something. What happens
He
with
was
that? Like,
the special person.
I don't remember, but either way, he goes to this military base, and this guy has a gun that was given to him apparently by John Wayne,
Yeah.
and he takes the gun from the guy, and they're in a truck on the way somewhere, and because the dude's trapped in his own mind or something, the lead speaks out loud to himself, holds the gun to his head like a phone, and he says, the guy's name is Henry, he goes, just dial 1-800-HENRY. So that the guy that's trapped in his mind can use the phone that's in the library to call him on his gun.
Wow.
And it's like it's a serious movie. It's not like supposed to be funny or tongue-in-cheek or anything. That's serious.
Oh,
See, for me, the worst movie ever is actually a category. I don't have an actual like worst movie I've ever seen. I just categorize certain movies into that. So like Night Falls on Manhattan, that is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss is in it. I think maybe Andy Garcia. Like you're like, oh, this cast is gonna be great. I mean, the whole movie, we went and saw it like the Dollar Show, and I was like, can we leave? It's that bad. It's that bad.
Wow.
So, Jesse, who's your favorite director?
I have a couple. David Fincher always comes to mind. I mean, the guy, his only movie that I didn't dislike it. It's just not as good as the rest of his, in my opinion, is Panic Room.
It's different.
Yeah,
It's a completely
but the rest
different
of his
movie.
movies, every single one of them are nothing less than absolutely brilliant.
Well, I think like even Zodiac, it's a slow. Actually, I watched Zodiac a lot of it last night. I got sucked into it on some HD movie channel, but like even Zodiac has kind of like a mood to it,
Right.
and that's what all his movies have. There's this
Just nasty like darkness to
Yeah.
his movies. I love it.
Even the Social Network, the same thing. There's a mood and a tone to everything he does. Panic Room, it was just like a typical thriller. Like I was like, this isn't a Fincher movie.
Right. It just didn't feel like Fincher. I don't know what happened with him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I should like look into the production of that one to see if like any like producers had their fingers in there. You know.
It could have been Jodie Foster because I hear she's pretty.
But
pretty bad.
David Fincher.
Pretty bad to work with.
Yeah, David Fincher is probably my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say Scorsese.
Yeah.
Just because Gangs of New York, Goodfellas.
Dude, I love Gangs of New York.
Yeah, and
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh,
Daniel Day-Lewis is my absolute favorite actor.
Yeah,
that guy. Wow, dude. There Will Be Blood. Man, like he
Nick's
was,
favorite.
dude. Daniel Day-Lewis is just crazy scary.
Nick hates that movie.
What's wrong with you? I'm done with this interview.
We're walking
I
out.
didn't say I necessarily hated it, but I was expecting more blood.
Yeah, more blood. Okay, so let's see. For the actors here, do you like seeing yourself on screen, or does it make you uncomfortable? Personally, anytime I see myself on screen, and if I hear my voice, which everybody's like, "Oh no, you're fine, you're fine," I hate it. Everything I do, I'm like, "Oh my god, this is awful."
Yeah, it's kind of like, do I really sound like that?
Yeah. We did this thing on Fox 2, my band, a couple weeks ago. And like, I can't watch it because when I do, I'm like, do I sound like that? That's terrible. And everybody's like, dude, it's just you. That's how you look. That's how you sound. I'm like, oh god, kill me.
Well, you sound different because like you feel the reverberation, like like in your own body, and you sound different when you're talking to yourself. But like when it's being captured by something else, you don't get all that. So
So I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Are you comfortable seeing yourself on screen, or is it one of those
first
weird?
The first time I saw myself on screen was weird. I was like, but after that I got used to it. And as far as the voice sounding, I mean, it's a lot of times I'll do, if I do a different character, I'll change my voice.
Right.
I did one film where everyone asked me, they're like, was that your voice? And I'm like, yeah, it was my, like, why didn't you use your normal voice? I'm like, that ain't what they asked for.
Right, right, yeah.
It's, but no, yeah,
I mean,
after the first, seeing it the first time afterwards, I got used to it. And I like seeing it because I'm like, oh, wow, that scene was pretty badass.
Right.
And it looked pretty cool. Like, okay.
And being able to alter your voice is its own talent unto itself. Too,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
great.
and it's cool. It is. But yeah, I've never, and I can understand how some people would do that. They like, do I really sound that way? That weird nasally, like
It kind of makes you critical of yourself. You want to criticize yourself, and you know how you view other people and how you seem like, oh, I don't like the way he bites his lip, or I don't like the way he does this, or the way he talks like that. And then you see yourself doing some of the stuff you don't like seeing other people do.
How George Clooney does this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like, well, for me, it was. I've never been on film before. I've never done a film at all, but I've been recorded, and I know how I feel about seeing myself recorded, and it was kind of freaky for me to see myself
doing
something
outside
being
the box.
somebody else, being another voice, another tone, deep, dark, and kind of crazy-ish.
It is scary.
Definitely.
But I'm not gonna lie. Like, I hate the way I sound. It is really hard for me to watch myself. But on the same note, when I saw myself for the first time on a big screen, I just broke down and started crying. Like, right there. I was just like, oh, man, it's me. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely uncomfortable. And you kind of have to look at it, like, as an outsider. You have to look at it as a character.
I cannot separate myself from it. I was like, no, just turn it off. Please.
It's uncomfortable.
Unless it's something silly, where we're like doing like some comedy stuff, where it's kind of not
totally
yourself.
different.
Yeah. We were doing some skit stuff last year, which unfortunately kind of bit the dust, due to time constraints and stuff. But that stuff was a little bit easier to watch. So, let's see. Would you guys would this be considered your chosen career path? Or is this more of a hobby for each of you?
Oh no, it's definitely a career path.
Yeah.
I went from, when the film incentive came here before Hitler became governor. you know, it was exciting because I had gone
Hey,
from
Snyder!
yeah, I had gone from professional wrestling to acting, and I was thrilled. Yeah, I mean, it's terrible to do, man.
Yeah.
It's I'm just waiting for the day they find them floating in the Detroit River. Seriously.
Wow.
I mean, you cannot continue to you cannot continue to go after people that are already downtrodden and take more and more away from them. And you know, I'm not saying that I'm going to do it. I'm just saying I will not be surprised if they find him one day like buried in concrete.
Even after he's not governor anymore, that's probably when something like that would happen, you know?
Well, it's just horrible. You do not take away a program that was working and say, well, okay, you know what? And I think it was more a political deal for him than anything else. Yeah, back to the career path. Yeah, I do. I you know, I was lucky my first year in. I did 12 different films and I did a TV show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then this year it got slower, but it's still, you know, I had auditions for, you know, 2 major motion pictures, and, you know, I think I was just too good for them. That's what
They couldn't handle all
they couldn't handle all this
Yeah.
awesomeness. The film wasn't up to my standards. But no, I would love to make a career out of it. I would, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely love to make a career out of acting. I've never acted before or done film, like I said, and just being on set with these people right here and the rest of the cast and the rest of the crew, it was amazing. It was like nothing I've ever experienced.
Right.
You know, it was for me it was complete strangers, and we all just meshed and came together, and things started to happen. And afterwards, like I was telling Jess, for the first 4 days after the shoot, I started waking up. I had a dream that I was being recorded. Like there was a whole crew in my bedroom, and they were filming me while I was acting as though I was asleep. You know, and it was just, right. So, you know, it needless to say, it really struck me, you know, deep. I really felt it. I feel comfortable doing it, and I'm actually looking to pursue it now. So
cool.
You damn well should, dude.
He's good. He's shockingly good.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, when the incentive first got here, I was working a lot with a lot of different film things, you know, be it like extra work, actual acting, you know, photo double, stand-in, whatever. I was working a lot. And
Yeah, well, you don't need a job. I mean, that's
Hey, it pays better to do that than I make in waitressing, I'll tell you that. But then obviously it slowed down, but there's also been a kind of a fashion industry that's kind of bubbling up here.
Really?
So, yes, and I've gotten a lot of jobs with that, actually.
Nice.
So, between the two of them, yeah, I would definitely like to make a career with either acting or modeling, or both, preferably. So, yeah, I would say it's definitely a career choice of mine.
Cool. Well, is there anything else you guys want to discuss? Because I think I'm pretty much out of questions here.
well.
Uh-oh.
Back to
Here we
Sheldon.
go.
Back to Sheldon. Sheldon. What the hell, dude? This guy never acted before in his life. Like, okay, here's the story. Here's the story. Here's the story. Originally, when I was writing Thieves, the story's so deeply personal to me that I was rehearsing myself as the lead role, and I was creating this character, and I was getting really into it, and we were originally going to shoot at the end of August, and we were just running out of time, and we just didn't have time to cast too many people.
Right.
And I was like, I kept thinking, I kept talking to our assistant director, Ryan. I was like, you know, maybe we should find somebody else. And I started thinking about like different qualities I wanted in the person I would have for a lead if we had some extra time. And then thankfully we had to delay the shoot. So when we delayed the shoot, I was like, fuck it, dude, I'll look for somebody else. I'll see if I can, you know, can find anybody else that could fit these qualities. And of course we still didn't have a lot of time. So Sheldon, he worked next door to me at Blockbuster. He'd come in all the time. I don't know what it was about him, but for some reason I just thought maybe this
talk movies. We just
same thing. Yeah,
same
right.
thing,
Just maybe this guy
Great icebreaker.
has something, you know. So he auditioned and just blew me away. Like he has to do this thick British nasty accent in the short.
Nasty, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, and
It's beautiful.
and he did the accent, the character, like he totally embraced everything about it, and yeah, he really delivered. It's great, you know.
Stomach's growling. Why? Why must you do this to me? I guess that's pretty much it. We can wrap this up.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. This is gonna
Thank
be
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
very cool. Looking forward to it.
Me too. I can't wait till I have it done.
Yeah, I'm the same way about stuff. Like, let's just get it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. But, all right. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Be safe. Whatever. Bye, Nick. Bye.
Bye, Nick.
I miss you already.
Oh yeah, make sure to like us on Facebook, Zenisphere
Yeah.
Films. I know it's hard to spell, but I don't know. Maybe you can put a little graphic down here somewhere. It says Zenisphere Films.
Yeah, we'll come up with something.
But yeah, Zenisphere Films on
Spear.
Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. We just redesigned our YouTube page so it looks a little snazzy. And
Nice.
yeah, check out we got a teaser trailer for Thieves on there, starring Sheldon.
Oh, he's so cool.
We got an announcement teaser. I mean, all the teasers, like I said before, all the stuff that we have is going to give you subtle details as to the plot, and it's not just typical promotion like other trailers where it's just like here's this actor
the entire movie
and
in
here's
30
this actor.
seconds.
Oh, I hate
like,
that.
Like
Right.
yeah, the
Now
hate
watch
that.
this.
all this promotional material is going to be like I'm treating it as a prequel to the plot.
Okay.
So it's actually like
Gonna give you a little bit of background
right.
information.
It's actually like written story that
Right.
that is not going to be in the short film. It's all leading up to it. So make sure that you watch them if you want to have some insight into what you're actually seeing when you finally see Thieves.
She just kind of touched on a point too about like knowing the whole movie before it comes out.
Yeah.
This is the whole reason I started this blog type review site because like anytime I read a movie review, if you go on like on entertainmentweekly.com, if you go on moviehold.com, if you go on mania.com, any of those sites, if you read a movie review,
It's the whole movie.
it's the whole movie. Literally, I read this review last week that said like so and so goes to the store and then so and so goes home and then so and so does
Right.
this. I'm like,
Can I watch
I
the
don't
movie?
want to know.
Right.
Because now you've told me the whole plot of the movie, and they wonder why are movies losing so much money? Pirating, reviews that give away the plot.
Really pirating.
Yeah, pirating.
Yeah.
Damn it. Yarr.
Bad or they're making
Terrible.
bad movies. I don't
No,
know.
I say that because
But-
you like threw out
Yeah, I
the
know.
torrent comments.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was only two
Oh,
seconds.
this guy's gonna talk about pirating, eh?
But really, I don't do that.
No,
it's
seriously.
terrible.
Seriously, like that's why I wanted to do this interview so bad is because what you do with spoiler free is something like I haven't seen
Right. It's,
with other reviews. And like when I wrote for a little bit for Blog Critics, I did some reviews and I set out to do the same thing that you're doing with spoiler
really?
free. I would just say basically whether it was bad or good. I
Yeah,
mean, in more
which is how
words
it
than
should
that,
be.
obviously, but
yeah.
don't say anything about the plot at all.
Right.
Like
Yeah, I
that's
mean, I
why
don't
I
wanna
want
know.
to. That's why you go see it to see
Yeah.
the plot. You don't read it.
Right.
It's a movie. You're supposed to watch it, not read it.
Not read it
So,
and
like-
not have the whole
Right.
thing given away in the
You might as
preview.
well just get a book at that
Right.
point.
I don't
Right.
know.
And now they have a following of people that read the blog, that read the
Yeah.
reviews, and they count on reading the reviews to decide whether they want to go see
Right.
this person go to the store and
Yeah, I mean, it's just like,
You know,
oh
sleep for
God,
an
stop
half an
ruining
hour.
a whole movie for
Well,
me.
I think too the problem with movies right now is there's nothing new. You commented on the point that you saw in The Hills Have Eyes. You saw a scene from True Romance, and then if you watch Due Date with Robert Downey
Zach
Jr.,
Galifianakis.
that's Trains, Planes, and Automobiles,
Yeah, oh,
just
completely.
with a different twist
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
And what happened to originality? And if Hollywood would stop saying, okay, the only way we're going to make money is if we take something that's already been done and redo it again.
Right.
Why? Bring something new in.
Yeah.
People will want to go back to the show. They'll get excited to go see new stuff. Like, you guys have this brilliant mind. Zenisphere
Thank
Films
you.
is yeah, it's
Very much.
it's fresh, it's good. I mean, it's stuff that people are gonna wanna go back to the show and see. I don't want to see Battleship the movie or Viewmaster the movie. I don't want to see that.
Viewmaster.
The Smurfs. I
How
saw
about
the Smurfs.
how
when I
about
was a kid.
Sorry the movie?
Yeah, sorry. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. You know, enough already. It's or if you're gonna make something, make it. If you're gonna take something and make it amazing. And,
Yeah.
See, and the problem is too is like when we get these original films, people don't fucking go and see them. Like
it's not
like
anything
Scott
now.
Pilgrim. I mean, I know it's based on something.
But-
It's based on a book.
Yeah.
But in terms of seeing something like that on the big screen, that does not happen all the time.
Right.
No.
And then people,
It's a
number
great
one,
movie.
they don't like
my
it,
Halloween
and number
costume.
two, they
Is
don't
that
see
really?
it.
Yeah, I'm
You
going
know.
as Ramona. My boyfriend's going
Awesome.
as Scott.
Right.
Sweet.
You know, like
Yeah. I mean,
it sucks.
I know, right?
Yeah.
and, you know, and I hate Michael Cera. I cannot stand
Yeah.
him. Like that guy just grates on my last nerve. Scott Pilgrim. I loved that movie. He didn't bother me in that one.
Yeah.
Probably because the music elements of it too. I
He
always
looks
like
kind
that
of like
stuff.
a Gerber baby.
Yeah.
You know the Gerber baby's like,
Yeah.
that's kind of what Michael Cera
Yeah.
gives me.
And then what was the other one? Youth and Revolt.
Mm-hmm.
I dug that movie too.
I
So maybe
couldn't
my-
finish watching that movie.
I haven't watched it yet.
Maybe my hatred for him is starting to.
Yeah, I'm not a
No way.
fan. I'm not a fan of his acting because
always the
if you
same
want to
thing.
call it acting, I mean he's just
Michael Cera being Michael
him.
Cera.
Yeah.
And that's why he gets hired and like whatever. That's cool. He's got
Yeah.
a career. That's awesome. But yeah, I
Good
feel the
for
same
him.
way. And Scott Pilgrim, I actually enjoyed him. In it,
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So,
That was cool.
all right, that's gonna be it. Thanks, everybody.
Later.
Bye.
Now bring out the goat.